Wow, okay. I think, hello? Follow me, come on. Follow me. This is my face, recognize it. Okay, maybe I was just running around a little bit too fast. Okay. This is only the second ever live stream I've attempted, so please forgive the fact that, well, I'm just entirely disorganised and there'll be loads of mess just hiding behind the table so that I can pick it up and put it on to show you what's going on. What I would like to show everyone today, oh, hang on, sorry, water terrible. Okay, sorry, technical problems already. I had forgot to send the live stream post to my Patreons, so I'm just gonna do that now. And then we will get into it. So this, oh, I do this all the time. I keep putting it over my face and then it doesn't know where I am because it's like, where's that little potato head of yours? Okay, so I'll try not to put things too close to the camera, but it needs to be close enough that you can actually see them. So, nice and slow. Okay. This is a woven cyanotype that I created while I was at work in North Shields, in North Tyneside Art Studio. And it's just a really silly little easy peasy trick of creating an artwork that can bamboozle people for a little while, with them thinking, how on earth have they got that image across the weave? Of course, the truth is, follow me, is that this is a really, really simple thing that you can do with, well, with any cyanotype. This one is a wet cyanotype using a fern, a flower and a Japanese maple leaf. But you can also do this with your negatives and, well, pretty much anything that you're using. It's just once you've prepared your weave, that's good to go. When I was a kid, we would make these paper weaves for things like Christmas dinners, and you'd have to decorate your own, but it was just coloured paper. And it's not my idea. I definitely pinched it from somebody else, but it's worth just having a go with these things. So I like weaving paper because it reminds us of these crazy school dinners as a little kid. You know, and it was part of the fun of getting ready for like a feast dinner together. So to make your weave, you're going to need some objects that you want to make your photograph of. You're going to need a piece of glass, which is what I'm trying to sort out right now. I got donated a load of clip frames, which are absolutely ideal because it's chamfered on the edge. They're usually too cheap to actually have a UV filter on one side. Sorry about that, babe. I think I covered my face again. Oh my gosh. Right, anywho. So glass, so that you can flatten your image and get a really nice, good contact. If you've got a clip frame, then you might have a backboard. And a backboard's really nice and useful for transporting your stuff to wherever you're going to do the exposure. I've got literally everything for my exposure apart from super cold water. So once I set it away to do its thing, expose, I might have to have a little interim intermission so I can run off and get some nice cold water. So you're going to need paper, and you're going to need your cyanotype. So he's lost my face again. Don't go to sleep. Okay, so this is technology. There you go. Right, thanks for following us. I think I need to learn how to slow down not just my speech, but my erratic movements, because the Instaflow doesn't seem to particularly like how fast I keep moving. Anywho, get a piece of paper, get your cyanotype and whatever you're going to use to apply it to your paper. I tend to use these sponge brushes just because they're quite quick. You can get a lot of coverage very easily. I've already done some Blue Peter style bits that I prepared earlier, but I just wanted to quickly show you again kind of how quickly I apply the stuff and how often I'm moving it around and how thin I'm often trying to spread it. We don't really want pools of cyanotype anywhere. We don't want water tension lines. Well, unless you do want water tension lines, but in this particular instance, we don't want any of that. So once you feel like you have a nice even coverage, this needs to go somewhere to dry before you can use it. So as I said, here's to hiding things under the table. There we go. All right, here's the ones I made earlier. Okay, so they're pretty much dry. I've hidden them in between some newspapers, so there's also been a little bit of blotting that has occurred, but overall, it shouldn't really influence the print that we get. First port of call is take your dry, prepared paper and fold it in half. And you want to snip directly down your fold line. One piece we're going to hide underneath our backboard out of the sunlight, and the second piece we're going to cut down to the edge approximately a thumb's width or a centimetre thereabouts. You can be precise with this if you want. As I'm sure you have noticed, I'm not a very precise person in terms of creating stuff. What's the point of making it by hand and then having it absolutely perfect? No, you could just get stuff done in a factory process if you wanted that. So I'm always of the mind that you should, you know, embrace serendipity where and when you can, and don't really worry about making mistakes, because I can guarantee you that you will learn far more by making a mistake than you would learn by getting it correct on the first go without really trying. So this is just a little bit of a, you know, chat for life. Basically, don't fear making mistakes. Mistakes are just one extra step towards success. So if it hasn't killed you or maimed you, don't worry. Okay, so my little edge one is a bit fat, so I'm going to trim that one down. And what I've done is I haven't completely separated it, where I've just trimmed it down to like a fringe. See, beeps when I can't find my face. Do I have to do this again? No, right. Okay, so that's that side. And again, I'm going to swap over for my other piece of paper. And this time I'm going to cut lengthways in approximately 1 centimetre. But this time I'm also not leaving a fringe. I'm just going to take the whole thing off. Like so. I was explaining to the people I was teaching my workshop to the other day that there are actually a lot of people who do cyanotypes, and obviously it's because it is so accessible and you can do it anywhere. I'm just sitting in my living room like cutting stuff out, but I've done workshops down the beach, I've done them in forests, on riversides, on trains, like literally if you can find a weird spot for me to go and run a workshop on there, like. You might not need all of these little strips that you're cutting, so it's up to you. You might want to keep them and maybe have a little go with doing something else with them later. But for now, we'll just cast them off to the side if we're not using them. Okay. So this is the bit where you want to pay attention. It is easy. Have the fringe towards you, the edge of the fringe, and then go under and pick up your next little strip, and then the next strip, and just continue to push through while picking it up. Then pull it down until it sits happily as tight towards that little edge that you've left as you can possibly do. With your next one, you're going to do this in the opposite action. So this time we're going over the end one and then under the one next to that. Again, over, under until you have completed the line, and then pull your piece of paper down. Keep going until you've filled the whole bit. And I'll try and do that fairly quickly because, you know, time is of the essence. So we're getting there, just a little bit more. It's a beautiful sunny day in Sunderland today, so the cyanotype solution on the paper is already starting to change colour. It's alright, it doesn't really matter because it's not fully exposed, so we can just crack on basically. Over, under, come on. Ugh. Okay, concentrate, there we go. So it needs to be opposite all the way through, and what you're looking for is an interlock, okay? So every time you put in a new piece of card, it should further lock down the other pieces. Now that's as far as you need to go. I usually put a little bit of tape along the back to just make sure that it's not going to shift about. However, I've done my usual fantastic, I have thought I was prepared, but I'm not really prepared. And my tape is not here. So this is the weave. Just double check to make sure that it's as tight as you want it to be. Because of course, once you've exposed your image, that's it. That's how it's going to look. You can't then decide, right, well, I want to bring this one a little bit closer in or what have you, because the image will be made wherever you have left the structures of the paper. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time coaxing it down a bit. Okay, come on, man. This is why the tape would be really, really useful. But it is what it is. Right. So that's it woven. It should mostly be holding itself into position. I'm going to made my picture with some ribbons and what else have I got? Ooh, glue sticks, which are a bit weird, I suppose. I've never printed a glue stick. Let's see what happens. Actually, scratch this. I want to put my glass on. So flatten it. There's a ribbon, and actually let's do a nice pair of scissors on the top, and then we can do the glue sticks and see how that looks. So that's me composition that I'm going with, and I'm going to push this a little bit further back so that I can bring in the really expensive exposure unit. Absolutely brilliant for teaching, because you need to make what you're doing accessible to people, otherwise you're probably not teaching it correctly. If you can save money, save money. If you can make your life easier, make your life easier. So my beautiful flat pack exposure unit. Oh, I've done it again. I'm always covering my face. Anywho, right. Shut up, gimbal. Shut up, gimbal. Okay. So that's the setup. Exposure unit on top. This is my 50-watt LED lamp, and even though it is really nice and sunny today, I could definitely just make one of these pictures in the sun. I am going to use the overhead exposure unit so that it'll keep all of the lines exactly in the same position. The light is coming from directly above, and so it's going to be quite graphic in the way that it'll represent the things that are on top of it. If I was using the sun, then the light is coming in from the side, so that's how the shadows would cast. And because I'm using three-dimensional objects, I just don't want it to get too confusing. So I have put the overhead one in. We're looking at about 12 to 15 minutes for the exposure to run its course, and then we have to give it a good wash in super cold water and let it dry naturally, out of the sun preferably. So I'm not going to waffle for 15 minutes. I don't think I've got anything I can waffle about for that long. I mean, also you might be able to hear, if you've listened to me talk before on things, that my voice is really quite gruff today. And that's essentially because I've done quite a bit of work this week, and the fibromyalgia just is always there, ticking over in the background. So fibromyalgia is a little bit like chronic fatigue syndrome, or possibly ME, and it does share some symptoms with MS, but it doesn't incur the same brain lesions. But basically it's just a crappy condition, which means sometimes my brain isn't firing on all cylinders because I've got fibro fog. There's a perfect example of not being able to speak properly. So what starts to happen is I will say the wrong words. As it becomes harder to speak, I will start to slur a bit and sound slightly drunk. I wish I was drunk. Unfortunately, I'm not. That's just the parts of my muscles starting to close down. I just realised I'm like hiding behind the box like this little tiny head, and the boys were saying I need to get my boobs out more. However, like, this is about cyanotype, it's not about checking out old footy doody Joe. So does it matter that I'm hiding behind a box? The gimbal seems to think so. Anyway, so fibromyalgia is a bit naff. I'm feeling like I need to probably rest today. So once I've finished doing our live stream and a bit of a follow-up as well later on, because I think it's always nice to see the final outcome. That basically I am going to vegetate in the living room, heat packs on, plenty of painkillers, and probably a couple of true crime documentaries. Easy peasy. So I've got 15-ish minutes to let my exposure unit go, and I'm going to take that time to pop the 2 Cyanotype bottles that I use down here. And I use these all the time, and I think I use them all the time because I teach, and again, it's all about that accessibility. If you buy these easy to mix chemistries, they also come in blackout bottles, so you've got a light, tight container that you can use forevermore for all different types of things. So I tend to keep these bad boys and then give them a good wash out, and then when I want to do things like cyanotype on glass where I have to make up a gelatin solution, then I can keep them in these and it works wonderfully. They're fairly cheap. I want to say I could be a salesperson for cyanotype, but it made my life a lot easier. Like over COVID, basically if we didn't have cyanotype, I think my career would have been over. I'm used to doing travelling dark rooms, and obviously when lockdowns and COVID hit, you couldn't have a tiny dark room where somebody was that close to you. It was unsafe, but you could do cyanotypes and actually socially distance, and in the summer you could do them outside, so that was even better. I think again as well, in terms of the fibromyalgia, the cyanotype chemistry doesn't make the fibromyalgia worse, whereas I think spending long days in and out of the dark room, surrounded by dark room chemistry smells, would actually make us a little bit worse, I think. So there are different ways for you to adjust the way that you work to what is relevant and what you might need for your own health. You know, there are lots of chemicals that we use in darkroom based photographies that are all heavy metal, and they're all, you know, quite damaging to the environment. They're supposed to be disposed of very carefully. I know a lot of home darkroom people probably pour them down the sink, but ideally you don't really want to be doing that because it's a pollutant. What I've been doing with the cyanotype, especially if I'm working outside, is I'll water the plants with it, and that seems to be absolutely fine. Just don't get it on the leaves, obviously, because the leaves will start turning blue. I'm having a look. We are on 25 minutes, which means this has probably been on for about 10. I'm going to have a little peek and see what colour we're at. Or needs longer photo show. So, what I might do is try and leave a little little pictures, so it's, you know, you've got something fun to look at while I run away to get some water. And basically, I don't know what I'm doing, so like if it's really annoying that like I have to run off for water and stuff, which it is for me, then tell us as well if it's like really annoying for you, because then I might get my act together and do it a little bit better. Right, I'm going to bring the water in a jug to the tray, and always be careful if you are doing work to keep the water away from the electricity. My lamp's pretty good. It's got an IPCC rating of 166, I think. Yeah, waterproof IP66. And that means that it's pretty waterproof for use outside as well. So just something to bear in mind, really. You want to be safe when you're doing your stuff. This does get warm on the back, the lamp, but it's not like crazy hot. Okay, I'm doing it. Go! Is it going to find my face again? Hello? Ah, I'm behind the box. Okay. I'm going to hope that we have reached a fairly reasonable exposure. And if we haven't, I might cheat by just bringing the lamp down a little bit more. I have brought my jug of water in, and it's beautifully cold. I'm going to have a tiny slurp of coffee, and then we shall give it a wash. Love me coffee. Okay, let's shift some stuff around. These can now go hide again out of the light. At a really, really good full exposure, the cyanotype chemistry will start to go a rust orange colour. Making the light on the exposure more intense by bringing it much further down to the paper. I have no idea how the phosphorescence of the glue sticks is going to act on the print, so that's going to be something new for all of us. I've been working with Cyanotype for about 14 years now, and I swear to goodness, like, there's still so much stuff to figure out and to learn. It's really, really, really good fun, and you can pretend that you're sciencey when really, you know. Right, okay. I can see that this has definitely gone slightly orange in comparison with the colour that it was before. So let me pick that up and just show you the exposure. And now let me find one of the pre-prepared ones from earlier, just so you can see the tonal difference of those and what's going on. Okay, stash this back into my newspaper, and see if I can lift it slightly, or if I put my head like this so it's really close. Okay, that's great. This is super fresh chemistry. I just prepared it before I started doing the demonstration, which is why it has happened really beautifully quickly. The blue's nice and intense, and the whites are pretty cool because they are very white. This artwork is obviously a woven artwork, so we need to let all of the excess chemistry that is now currently trapped underneath the weave to come out of the print, so that it doesn't continue to develop after we hang it out to dry. So really simple little technique for you guys to have a go with. It's up to you how complex the weave gets. I have friends who do a lot of paper weaving, and they can make much more complicated weaves than I can. I think the maddest one I did was I had to look at a piece of paper for ages to see how many I had to put up and how many I had to put down, and this is really easy. So that's pretty much it. I will finish washing this, hang it up to dry, and I will photograph it and put the finished article up on both Patreon and on my Instagram. And yeah, feel free to let us know the things that I've done terribly wrong, the things that I've done good, or well, sorry. And right, let's end our live stream there. Just ignore my crazy hair, it's grown back in. I'm not sure if I want to keep it, but actually let us know about that as well. Let us know if I look like a proper old No, don't make loads of comments on me looks, I'm only joking. Right, tatty bye.